Welcome to Papa's Workshop. As part of the beginner series, I want to introduce to you the bandsaw today. This is one of the most versatile tools that you can have in your workshop. So let's get started. So why do I say it's the most versatile tool in the shop? Well, you can rip material, and this material can be thin or it can be thick. And when you're getting close to the blade, use the push stick provided. And you can see how it cuts that long ripped thin material. You can also do cross cuts. Cross cuts is very easy with the miter gauge that you have. And in addition to that, it's very easy to be able to cut notches in the wood, and you can even do the tenons for your mortise and tenon type joints. Very easy to establish exactly the center point of those tenons. And cutting the notches like this is fast, easy, and it's accurate. And if you don't want to just do a notch, the tenon is another perfect example that you can use on the bandsaw. And if that wasn't enough, you still have more options. You can use the miter gauge to cut the angles, and you can cut any angle that you want all the way up to a 60-degree angle. And then turn the table. We can rotate this table from any degree up to the 45 degrees, and then you can do the compound cutting. So now you can take the miter gauge and cut your angle this way. Now right now the miter gauge is set to 0. So it's making a square cut, but you're getting this angle. And that's perfect. Or let's take this miter gauge one more time and let's rotate it. We can turn it and you can get your compound cuts. There is no other tool that has such a wide variety of cuts as the bandsaw. And last but not least, you can certainly do the curve cuts as well, which is probably what the bandsaw is most noted for. So yes, this is a highly versatile tool to have in the shop. Now another very important factor about the bandsaw is safety. If you think about it, all of the cutting force is going down. It's going in a circular motion. And let's open this up. You can see this turning. That force is driving down into the table, which means your wood that you're cutting is actually being pushed to the table. On most other saws, where you have the circular saw blade and you're pushing wood into that circular motion, you have the possibility of kickback. Another very important consideration for many of you is the fact that a bandsaw is very quiet. It runs with a relatively small motor. This is a 3.5 amp motor that runs this saw, and it's a very quiet. And bandsaws typically are a very quiet machine, unlike a lot of the other types of power tools that you would have in your shop. And the reason that I say that the bandsaw is one of the most versatile tools that you can have in the shop is because of all the different types of cuts, whether it's a rip cut, cross cut, bevel, compound angles, and even curve type cuts. The bandsaw can do all of that and do it with relatively safety. Now this saw comes with a magnetic light that is very handy. You can place this anywhere that you want it, and it's a very bright light. And you can place it here and shine it down on your surface, or if you want to be able to have it on the back side, you can do the same thing. Shine it down onto your cutting area. It's really up to you, and having that light is definitely handy. And it has the convenient switch right here to be able to turn it off and on. Now the other thing that I like is you have this little handy clip. This is great for being able to clip your cut list to the machine so that you can refer to that as you're cutting. Of course, you have the doors to be able to gain access to the blade into the wheel, and of course there's two wheels. This top knob actually makes it where you can put the tension on the belt and tighten it. And then you have another knob that's going to be on the back side that will tilt the blade to be able to make sure that the blade is running center on the wheel itself. Is so that you can raise and lower this guard to be able to cover the blade. So if you're cutting a thin material, you can actually lower this guard down and then lock it in place, and that minimizes the exposure of the blade that you have. Likewise, if you're cutting a much thicker material, all you need to be able to do is raise this up and then adjust the height. So that way, again, you have the minimum exposure, and that helps to keep the fingers in a safe place. You also have your off and on switch that's at a convenient location, easy to reach. Now, one of the features that I really like about this table is you can release this latch right here and extend the table out. So if you need a larger cutting area, you can do that. Then just slide it back in when you're finished, clamp it back down. So that's very nice to be able to have. And then you've got a larger work surface to be able to utilize when you're cutting your material. You have the miter gauge that works real well with this, and you have the ability with this little red line, of course, to be able to set this at any angle that you need. And you can turn this in either direction to be able to get the various angles. In addition, you have the locking fence that you can actually put on either side, and it will slide. And you have the little gauge here so that you can set the exact measurement that you want and then clamp it down, and it's very sturdy. I typically will put it on this side, and there we go. That works very well. And then just lock it down, and that secures and holds it, and you're ready to rip the material. I think this is actually the first bandsaw that I've had that actually had the rip fence on it, and that's a very nice feature. Now this saw actually has two dust ports. You can put one hose on here, and then you have another dust port here. The nice thing about this, you're catching the dust directly from the blade as it cuts and takes that sawdust through the table. And then this one, as that blade is coming down, the bulk of that sawdust that's remaining will be here where it can be sucked out. Another very nice feature is having all of these different adapters built in. This makes it where just about any size hose that you have in your shop is going to be able to fit on here. And I really like that. Now, I mentioned the motor a minute ago. This is a 3.5 amp, 120 volt motor. That's really all that you need. You also have 2 speeds. This runs at 660 meters per minute, or you can adjust the speed to 960 meters per minute. That is your choice, and it has the belt inside where you can adjust that. But this is a very quiet motor. Now with the bandsaw, you do get the push stick that comes with it. When it's not in use, it has a convenient knob right there that you can store it and keep it out of the way. Now this saw does come with 2 blades. It has the 1/2 inch blade that's on the machine, and you also have this 1/4 inch blade that will come with it also. The blades that you have on here are 70.5 inches, and they're easily obtained from the Amazon. And there's a lot of different manufacturers that you can choose from to be able to purchase this size blade. And you've got a variety of tools that will come with this machine, so that makes it where it's easy to be able to adjust anything. Again, this is ideal if you're a new woodworker. You probably don't have a lot of these tools. Okay, when you open up the bottom cover, this shows the actual drive wheel. And this is the belt that actually drives it. And this is where you can adjust that speed and change the belt to be able to get either the faster or the slower speed, whichever one works best for you. Now the other thing that I like is having this little brush up here, because that keeps this drive wheel clear of the sawdust. So that's a very nice feature. And of course, this bandsaw does come with the stand. The nice thing about this is almost completely pre-assembled. The only thing you really have to do is put the stand together and put the table onto the bandsaw, and for the most part, that's about it, which is another very nice feature. This will have you up and running very quickly. Now, a little trick that I've learned with the miter gauge, to get it back square, flip it back over and drop it into the slot and run it up against the fence or the table itself, and then lock it down. And that will be able to get you square again without doing any other adjustments. The other thing that's nice about this one, you have this little knob right here that you can loosen, and this will slide left and right to be able to give you more stability with the wood that you're cutting. And once you have it set, you can just lock it back in position. This miter gauge is great to be able to get close measurements to what you need, but if you really need to get accurate and very precise cuts using a miter gauge, you're probably going to be better off moving into a different saw that's actually designed for that. Now in the manual itself, you can use this little QR code and be able to go directly to the warranty registration to be able to register your new bandsaw. Now I've tilted this table over to 45 degrees, and I can put that right up there along the edge of this blade, and I can see that that is actually very accurate. Now I want to use this digital scale to verify what I just showed with the triangle. So I have my digital gauge set for 0. Now let me go ahead and turn that over to the 45 degrees. So there's 45 degrees, and that is using just a miter gauge scale on the back of the machine. To be able to use that guide as your measurement, that's pretty good. To be able to get the exact measurement, by all means, use the digital gauge. But again, this will give you a good cut just with this unit of measurement here, this scale. Thank you for watching the video today, and I hope you was able to learn something about a bandsaw. Now this bandsaw is by Tact Life, and it has proved to be a very, very addition to my shop. And over the years, I've had several different bandsaws, but I must say, I really do like this one a lot. Now, if you liked the video and you found it helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell notification right down below so that you won't miss out on any of the videos that I'm uploading. Now, on the next video, I'm going to be taking this bandsaw and we're going to be cutting out a project with it to be able to do on the lathe. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. And please do me a big, big favor. YouTube recently has really changed their algorithms, and I really need your help and support to be able to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It will really make a huge difference. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.